Hey everybody, Anthony here, and this week we're thrilled to have Play to Z Games as a sponsor of this episode and to share with you their new game, Ascending Empires Zenith Edition. Ascending Empires is a 4X game that plays in just under 2 hours. You flick your ships across the galaxy, discover and explore new planets, build outposts, cities, research facilities, even starbases. All while your ships and troops compete to complete missions and claim alien relics that will establish your dominance over your opponents. With plenty of extra modules to switch up the experience, from new alien races with unique powers to immense, game-changing megastructures, and even good old-fashioned robot uprisings, Ascending Empire's new Zenith Edition is a unique galaxy-building experience. Use the code POD on their website, playtozgames.com, to receive 15% off your order. That's code POD on playtozgames.com.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. It's tax season, and we're all a bit tired of numbers. But here's one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now here's a good number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it. Guaranteed. Save up to 40% your first year at LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Welcome to Board Gamers Anonymous, the podcast where everyone is welcome at the table, but of course, no one knows whose turn it is. This is Chris.
Hey, and this is Anthony.
And this is episode 522, Top 10 Magic the Gathering Universes Beyond. We like to thank all our Patreons for helping us unlock a brand new episode. Hello, friends. We are back, and it's been a little bit of a rough time. Not to worry. We found the perfect feature for this episode, which is Universes Beyond, where we go beyond this universe because we don't want to be here anymore, and there's a lot cooler places to go. And that's the episode.
Yeah. Where's a place I'd rather be? Well, these are the places you can go in Magic, and that's a fine place to be as well, and maybe the only game we're going to be able to afford to play anymore.
Yeah! Yeah, we'll be talking about the top 10 Magic the Gathering Universes Beyond. If you're not a Magic the Gathering fan, don't worry about it. I'm not. But these are the really cool, amazing universes that are from everywhere in like sci-fi, fantasy, media. And Magic the Gathering has kind of exploded and taken everything that they can grab their hands on and now that's Magic the Gathering. Now that's Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. No, it's going to be great. And specifically, we're going to look at cards that you get in sets, either their own standalone sets or cards that have been added to existing sets. There are like another 40 beyond that are like secret layer drops. And I think once we get into that level, neither of us really has the Magic experience to be like, oh, this one particular card that they did for Evil Dead back in 2023. This is really good.
I love Evil Dead. That's awesome.
Or the Princess Bride card that they dropped shortly after that. There's a lot of really cool stuff. Maybe we'll talk about a little bit of it overall.
Yeah. There are a lot of cool universes, and as somebody who's played Magic but hasn't been around there for a long time, I'm really interested to see what's out there and what's hot and cool. So we'll be taking a top 10 walk down the block and see how it plays itself out. But Anthony, before we get into that, which is a lot of fun, and we need to talk about that quickly because the other stuff isn't really fun, man.
No.
So I think we need to have a very short conversation. So you might want to sit down a little bit. And it's kind of hard to talk about, but my assumption is you've all heard about this. And I guess we'll start general and then get very specific. The United States government, Donald Trump specifically, has put tariffs on everybody, everywhere, all at once.
Except Russia.
Yes, which is odd.
I wonder why.
I have to stroke my magic beard to figure out why that is a thing. So that happened and is still happening. And at the time of this recording, it's escalating.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this matters for endless numbers of reasons that we would love to talk to you about, but we still want to remain a tabletop podcast, and you came here for fun, not for reality. So,
True.
Nonetheless, we do need to mention a couple of basic things in case you are not hooked into the tabletop industry as wired as Anthony and I are. And in particular, it's the tariffs that have been imposed upon China. These tariffs are, now again, there's been a 10% across the board. There's been some additional tariffs going up to 34% on China. And as of recording on Monday, this episode will drop on Wednesday. Trump has also said that he has threatened a additional 50% tariff on top of all the other tariffs that he has put on China in retaliation to China's tariffs, which was a retaliation from Trump's tariffs. And now everything gets very confusing. Now, being that I'm a Euro gamer, I can explain this all to you in cubes. Sadly, this is a podcast, so I don't have the visuals to do that. But nonetheless, what this means is, at least initially, that all of the tabletop stuff that you love, including RPGs, Magic, dice, CCGs, comic books, graphic novel, I mean, just an endless number of things that comes from China to the U.S. and around the world, at least for our U.S. listeners, which includes Anthony and I, are going to be taxed severely. So 34% on top of the cost of those games, those Kickstarters, those crowdfunding sources.
Well, it's 54 right now.
I'm sorry, 50. Yeah, I'm trying to add all the numbers here because they keep changing.
Yeah.
and then Tuesday at noon, if China doesn't relent, pull back their tariffs, Trump's going to add 50% more, so it'll be 104. Am I correct on that?
Yep.
Yeah. So 104% tax on the things that you would be or could be or should be getting from China.
Yeah, and like you've probably already seen a lot of the posts from if you're tapped into the whole like BGG sphere. But a lot of publishers have posted, this is what this will do to my business. This is what's going to happen. This is why it's terrible. And that was in response to the 54%, which was announced last week.
Yes.
Because it was at 20 going back to like early February, and then he added 34% more.
Yeah,
because reasons, and it is literally because reasons. But again, we don't have to get into all that. And that was already like, this is bad. Companies can't afford to function this way. Your games are going to cost 50% more. Like just across the board, bad. It's going to be bad for people on Kickstarter. I've already gotten several emails from various crowdfunding campaigns I've already backed being like, you're going to have to give us more money. And people are getting angry about that. So that's all stacking on top of itself. And then now with this additional 50%, if it happens, which there's a time in life not that long ago when it would have been like, well, that's crazy. That won't happen. We're well past that time. So it very well could happen. And if it does, that's, people are already like, this is no company could survive that.
Yeah.
So
at the 54%, a lot of companies were questioning whether they could stay in business.
Right.
A lot of companies were questioning if they would run any crowdfunding this year or whenever they could ever do that in the future.
Right.
And a lot of gamers were questioning whether they could purchase or afford any games anymore. So,
right.
So every aspect of tabletop gaming, because all of that stuff does come from China, or the vast majority of it does, or the resources to produce those things do come from China, including all the bits and baubles and upgrades and components and stuff like that. It really, again, there has been numerous, and I mean numerous. If you follow, Anthony mentioned BGG, if you follow stuff on Facebook or Blue Sky or even a lot of publishers have posted this on their own websites. Um, this is looking extremely bad. It was like almost like the end. If the 50% additional gets added to that and it becomes 104%, then I think we are going to see the end of a lot of the companies out there. Jamie Stegmaier wrote a whole extensive post about how the 54% would be crippling. Stephen Bonacore, formerly from Stronghold Games and Indie Board and Cards, again, extensive 3 pages of content. I mean, Ares Games has written things. I mean, there's so many different companies out there. CMON was already in a major financial deficit, and now
I don't know what CMON's going to do. Yeah, they have 15 projects that haven't shipped yet.
And even with CMON, I mean, that was the conversation for quite some time, the last couple of years, that they were super challenged to get their stuff out, and then they were raising the price on the shipping. I mean, we can't forget the fact that shipping, has been crazy. So shipping on top of these additional taxes, and then obviously people will stop creating certain things as well. So we could be in for a incredibly painful loss of the likes that we have never seen, and the industry certainly has never seen. GAMA has come out, the trade association for tabletop gaming, and again, at the 54%, they were like doom and gloom. They were like, this is something we have to fight. I don't know how we can do it, but we need to, pull together. And then, again, this is not the end of the story. This is just Monday.
Yeah. Yep. And literally, like, nobody knows, right? And, there's no actual solution. You can't reshore tabletop game manufacturing. There are no buildings, the tools, the machines don't exist here.
Yes.
So it's just not even a feasible thing. It's literally like, if we can't do what we've been doing, we can't do anything.
Yes.
And that's where a lot of these companies are at right now. And I don't know. All we can kind of do is hope, call people, call your representatives, let them know to do something if they're willing to do anything. But yeah, it's tough. I really feel for us, it's like, oh, I'm not going to afford these games, or maybe this game that I already backed on Kickstarter is going to cost a little more. But this is a lot of people's jobs,
yes,
a lot of people's livelihoods, a lot of people's dreams and creations, and everybody's like, oh, they're all freaking out. I'm like, yeah, of course they are. This is their lives.
Yes,
and it might just be done
100%
in a few weeks or less, depending on what happens here. And I can't imagine that.
Yeah, the instability in the market, just that alone. If someone's even considering doing crowdfunding, I don't know how. I don't know how you talk yourself into crowdfunding now at this point.
I don't know how you'd set the price, right? Like, GameFound has come out and said they're working on a system to allow like a separate thing where you can charge the tariff towards the end of the project. Because they do have to do that in like Europe, right? They all have like VAT pricing and stuff. They have to add that extra tax on there. But the problem with the tariffs is that they can change. They have changed.
Yes.
Like, it wakes up and he's like, now it's this much. Now it's this much. And so, and the amount your charge is like when it lands here.
Yes.
So you've already been in production on that for what, 5 months, 6 months by the time it gets here, and you're like, I have to decide how many games to order, and I have no idea what the tariff's going to be when they show up. Like, how do you plan for that? How do you run a business like that?
And again, couple that with the already extremely high price of shipping games,
right?
Which we were talking about for quite some time, because anytime you look at a crowdfunding project, now you can't, I mean, once upon a time that was absorbed into the price. And then it became a separate cost. And now it's an extreme cost because just shipping anything anywhere is seemingly impossible. And there's also a lot of loss in administration here in the United States. If we haven't done already, and I know we haven't, we apologize. On behalf of the United States, we did not want this at all, not even a little bit. And the destruction that is going to cause so many of you out there, all the different places around the world, not just here in the U.S. I mean, sincerely, like, this is, I mean, for a lot of us here, this is the worst timeline.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And outside of games, obviously, we're stressed in different ways too. Like, it's not like,
it affects everything. It's not.
Yeah.
And Trump and his administration have affected a lot of things above and beyond the tariffs. So. We don't know what's next. Keep keep in tune, keep us in your prayers,
Mm.
because we certainly need it, because goodness only knows what happens. And obviously, we do a tabletop podcast and a tabletop journal, and for Anthony and I mean, obviously, that as an small independent media company, we don't charge for our reviews, we don't charge for our previews, we don't deal with sponsorship from companies. As far as we want to stay as ethical, seemingly open as ethical as possible. So financially, it is a strain on all of us, even to do the content that we're doing.
Mhm.
So, especially for all our friends in the industry, designers, artists, writers, publishers, convention people, all those conventions, all those cruises, everybody out there in the media, and all the gamers out there as well. So, hopefully we can get through this. It's a bit of a rough time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's not everything that's done with the tariffs, but we'll check back with all of you as that story develops a little bit. But on the good side, BGG is once again their yearly opportunity to recognize the greats of the greatest, all the board games, tabletop games that are out there. They're doing their Golden Geek nominations, Anthony.
Yeah, Golden Geek is coming up. It's that time of the year, and if you're not familiar with Golden Geek, here's how it works. You go into this giant mass list of things on Board Game Geek once you're logged in, and for each category, you can nominate a bunch of stuff. Just choose from the side, and there's a separate tab at the top for podcasts. We are a podcast.
Are we?
Yeah, I think so.
After 11 years?
Yeah, I believe it. So you can nominate us as well, and we really, really appreciate it if you did. So it takes 2 seconds. There's a link in the show notes. Just click that. Click on podcast at the top if it isn't already clicked, and find us in the list. And anybody else you want to support, but us first.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
We've always been a contender, but never a nominee. So it would be great to be up there with the greats, so to speak.
Yeah,
but,
that'd be great. So
yeah,
please and thank you.
Of course. And again, as always, there's a lot of other stuff to nominate: 2-player games, art and presentation, cooperative game, expansion, innovative, light game of the year, medium game of the year, heavy game of the year, party game, print and play, solo game, thematic game, war game, as we already mentioned, the best podcast, the one you listen to, and the best board game app. So a lot of cool categories. Definitely go in there and nominate them all, because I guess everybody could really use a little boost. And these nominations would be a nice little boost to all the good work that's going out there from all those great publishers and designers and artists out there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, take a deep breath. That's what's going on in the world a little bit. Anthony, we mentioned, we teased, we said a couple of things. We're doing a board game academic conference/convention this year. And we have partnered with the National Strong Museum of Games. Sorry, the Strong Museum of Play. We're bringing the games. They're all about play.
They got toys and games.
They have toys and games. So they have a lot of fun stuff to play with there. But it's a massive, beautiful museum with, as Anthony mentioned, all the toys, all the nominees, all the successes, tabletop games galore, video games galore, and a really great place to bring your family, friends, a really wonderful experience. We wanted to have the academic conference somewhere that you would really get that kind of feeling and vibe about all the fun, and especially the seriousness of play. Like, play is play, and play is a lot of fun, but there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do with play. And we're really hoping that BGA's 3rd annual academic conference and journal will show that off, because we have a tremendous number of great scholars, some emerging scholars, some like super professional people. Again, we can't mention people yet because they're still going through the process. And they're going to come do some wonderful presentations. We're going to have a keynote speaker. We're going to have some panels, and it's going to be 2 days this year, Anthony.
2 days. Yeah, we're doubling it up.
Yeah.
So we started with a 2-hour block
Yeah.
in person, 2 hours online 2 years ago. Last year went to a full day, and this year we're going to 2 days.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's been a great time. Everyone's loved the interaction. It's a good opportunity to network and discuss tabletop games. It's a good opportunity to play tabletop games. And again, with the museum's amazing library and research collection, and also stuff that you can actually play. It's a lot of fun throughout. So that will be up on the website. And the BGA Third Annual Academic Conference will be on October 4th and 5th. A lot of details and information there. Will fill you in more with the podcast, but we'll let the website speak for itself for the time being. We'll have a block of rooms that will be staying right near the hotel, and a lot of other fun stuff to come. So a lot of cool surprises and a really great time to appreciate, get some great games to the table, but also meet some great people who are doing some really fun, serious stuff with tabletop gaming.
yeah, it's going to be great.
All right. Anthony will drop a link in the notes for that. And you can check out on boardgameacademics.com. All right, Anthony. So that's everything that's going on in the world right now, and especially with BGA. Let's get on to the episode, and let's roll for preview.
All right. Rolling for preview this week, I want to talk about a new Martin Wallace game.
You would.
I would. Yeah, I love these.
So
I think I talked about this briefly once upon a time, but it is now available. And I think in the US, it's from Ares Games. They have it. I think maybe when I looked at this, they had like 5 left in stock. So I guess I would order that soon before they have to up the price. So with tariffs, it's going to cost more. But this is a new Martin Wallace game about the different families in ancient Rome vying for control. So there are 3 eras in the game. You're going to play through the Roman Kingdom, Roman Republic, and Roman Empire. And you are trying to rule over the 7 hills of Rome, building out monuments, buildings, managing majorities out on the map. If you look at a picture of the game, there's a lot going on here. It's a big, chunky looking thing. And it's Martin Wallace, so of course it's card driven, which is great. Love me some card driven Martin Wallace games. And it's very pretty to look at as well. So like just a nice high quality production from Ares. On this, and I don't know if they did any of the production or if they're just publishing it here in the US, but either way, they're bringing a pretty game over. So yeah, I'm always a fan of ancient Rome games in general, like just building out kind of just an interesting time and space in European history. And Martin Wallace just has a knack for this type of city development type of game, right? You have games like Brass, you have games like London. He's done this a lot with like card-driven city development, interesting Euro mechanics with some area control stuff going on there as well. So I'm pretty interested in this one. I don't know how long it'll be available. So,
oh no.
Yeah, and I was like one of those ones like, oh, I'll play it at the conventions this summer. Like I don't know how those are going to do either, but I'll keep my eye out for this definitely going forward. So Ares Games is one of those companies that has come out and been like, we're going to have to charge y'all more. There might be less games. Sorry, but support us the best you can.
Sure.
So they only have a couple in stock. I think it's on Amazon too. There's a handful in stock on there, but yeah, Æterna just shipped recently, and it's a pretty cool looking bit of a sprawl, but it's Martin Wallace. Even if it looks messy up front, it's probably pretty tightly tuned under the hood.
Yeah, absolutely. And he does so many great games out there that it's definitely not going to miss.
I would hope not. Yeah, I mean, I can't think of the last time I played a Martin Wallace game and I was like, that was bad. Like, they're almost always good. Sometimes they're a little fiddly, and he hasn't refined it yet. Like, almost all of his games that get some kind of refinement down the line.
Yeah.
Like, London, one of my favorite games, 2nd edition. It's much better than the 1st edition. Literally got rid of the map.
Yes.
Like, removed half the game and turned it into cards. I'm like, this is better.
Hey, look, he did Cthulhu in Australia with cows and trains, okay?
Smart dude.
He did all the things that could not be done or should not be done ever in a tabletop game.
Yeah. So, yeah, here you go. It's Æterna here. I feel like he has like 5 games coming out this year. So this might be the first of those.
Yeah.
There's Steam Power, I think, and he's got the Fighting Fantasy. I think he did that one too. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff coming up. But yeah, this one looks good.
Gotcha. All right, well, Anthony, by chance, do you want to leave here and go on a galactic cruise?
Ooh, where to? Anywhere. I don't care.
Pretty much the case at this point.
Yeah.
So Galactic Cruise has been kind of circling the conventions. Finally came out. People finally got their crowdfunding on that. This is a pretty nifty game. Anthony, I know you'll love it because it's got artwork from Ian O'Toole.
It's very pretty looking.
So, speaking about another man who can do no wrong, everything he does is magic. So, in this game, you are one of the people that working for this galactic space cruise company, and the CEO is going to step down in 3 years. So, it's your job versus the other people in your company to show off your skills, abilities, and obviously, since it's a Euro game, score the most victory points possible. Because that's what thing. So, and primarily what the game comes down to, it's a worker placement game. Not a big shocker here. You have your own little company board, and on your company board, you have your workers here, your executives, and those executives will go and choose one of 6 spots in order to take the actions on those spots. The actions on those spots will allow you to do a number of different things. And since you only have 2 workers, the interaction here is unique. Now, I've played the game at 2, and I've played the game at 3. I have not played the game at 4. And this is going to be my first kind of like a little bit of a red flag here. Because since you only do have 2 workers, and of course, any large, heavy Euro, which this is, it's a hard, crunchy Euro, you need workers to do all the things that you need to do in order to build up these galactic spaceships, get passengers on there, have the fuel, have the oxygen, and have the food to send your people on a really fun little vacation. So when you place a worker in a particular spot, one of these 6 spots on the board, other people can bump you. When they bump you, your worker goes back to your own board, and that kind of it allows you to cycle and have workers to play a lot longer. You can, of course, call a meeting, which brings back all your workers so that you can place them out again. There is an opportunity to gain 2 additional workers. It's a little expensive, but they're on the board, and you can bring them in, later in the game if you can afford them, or early if you want to be more strategic. At 2 and 3, I think we only bumped like 2 or 3 times, and that kind of made the turns kind of go a little too quick. But in a 4-player game, which I have not played, I'm assuming that there's obviously a lot more bumping because there's a lot more players happening there. So just talking about a little bit of a red flag there, because the board does not alter or shrink based upon the number of players. There is some dummy gears that go out there, and there is some resources and certain things that are taken away to kind of manage the player count, but the worker placement spots do not change. So as somebody who's played a lot of these games, and this game has been compared to Vitalis Serta's games, I will say that it's not refined or geared up enough to handle probably anything as good as it probably would be at 4 players. At 2 or 3, it's kind of a little weak as far as the worker placement elements go, but as you place your workers out there, you'll gain the ability on those different spots. In addition to that, you'll be able to build these development gears that will allow you to utilize the special abilities of adjacent spots. So there's an opportunity to do that as well. As people build gears there too, there's costs that go along with that. There's also developments on the top. These are randomized at the start of the game unless you play the one with the pre-printed board. And those special abilities, you can also put developments on those as well so that you can access them too. So the game primarily comes down to building these galactic spaceships, and the 6 different areas allow you to do all of those different things. Primarily, you're putting together a capsule, so you have the engine and you have like the captain's steering area, and then you're going to pick up blueprints. Then you're going to build the blueprints, which makes the center of the ship. And the look of this game and the ships themselves has a very old-fashioned throwback to like those 1950s idea of space travel. So think like Red Planet. Remember the game Red Planet, Anthony, with those kind of like Victorian-looking spaceships?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I love that. Like it's Art Deco, new wave, or whatever they call
yeah,
it. It's cool.
yeah. So it's not Star Trekky or Star Warsy. It's definitely that kind of old school, metal looking kind of ships that are being put together here. So basically, you're going to put the different sections in the ship. You're going to have your Galactic, you know, cruise director be able to get people to go on your ships, and then your ships are going to take off. You're going to put a little I don't know, a little itinerary on top of your ship, and then depending on the itinerary, the people that are in your ship, and I believe there's 4 different colors of people that can go on the ship, and each of those people want different things. So certain planets benefits off certain people, and then certain people in your ship are going to benefit off the matching color of the modules in your ship. So that's the little complicated part. I never felt the game was as heavy or as crunchy or has a serious cognitive load. It's just a matter of like, you need to get those ships out. You need to get those 3 resources up to the point where you can send the ship out. And then once the ship is out there, you just follow that little itinerary. If it's in space, you benefit off the modules. If it's a planet, then you can benefit off those resources from those planet because they can take an excursion to that particular planet. And, that's pretty much the game in a nutshell. There's also some special ability cards that will give you a one-time bonus that kind of like really alters the game a little bit. And throughout the game, it's just really a race because you're trying to get these cubes out to the different sections so that you can score additional victory points. But there's a lot of ways to score victory points. There's a lot of ways to build your ship up. And there's a lot of additional bonuses for your development. So depending on how you work it, primarily get those ships up, deal with the planets, gain those ongoing bonuses, gain those temporary bonus cards that you can play throughout the game. And, it's generally a good game. It's not Lacerda level. It's not, at least, it doesn't have that kind of modern day classic feel to it. It's good, but again, I really can't say more about it until I play it the 4-player. When people backed this game, it had a bunch of different expansion modules that you could pick up as well. I haven't played with those as well. It might make the game a little bit better because I did feel like in some cases it was not as good as it could be, but it was still a good game, a good worker placement game. So, for Galactic Cruise, I'm going to give it a play.
That's tough with a game that big. Like if it's going for the Lacerda look and vibe, size, scope, box size, O'Toole artwork, if it's kind of loose in any way,
yeah,
especially those lower player counts, like that immediately detracts from that, I would think.
It does. Again, and it's a beautiful production. The game is very expensive. It's a very large box, and the expansions obviously are their own little separate small boxes. And it adds a variety to it. So I'm happy to have played it. I don't own the game, so unfortunately I don't know if I'll get a chance to play the expansions. I'm hoping to get a chance to play the 4-player game because I think that game will sing at 4 players. But as it is, because it's unfair to the game itself. But there's so many comparisons to it as far as like Lacerda and being a heavy crunchy Euro and like this is like tight like brass. It's not. And on BGG they say it's best at 3, and I have to like really disagree with that. None of us were ever challenged on getting what we needed as far as resources, and there was very little bumping. So
yeah, that's not good in a game like that. You need there to be challenge.
Yeah,
tighter.
100%. So all right, there you go, Galactic Cruise. All right, and
awesome.
That leads us on to our feature review. So our feature review this week, of course, is our top 10 The Magic the Gathering Universes Beyond. So Anthony, why don't you bring us back? There's a lot of gamers out there, and we're all about the voice of the gamers. And They may like Magic, they may not. Or, in fact, maybe they're looking for something a little different. Maybe a little different IP, a little pasted on there a little bit. Something a little up their alley. Or maybe something that's just really cool and collectible. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Magic for those people out there who don't know anything about it? And then, what is Universes Beyond?
Yeah. All right. So let's back way up to the early days in Western Washington when little 8-year-old Anthony's running around in the schoolyard just harassing the heck out of his friends to let him play with their cards. So, Magic the Gathering's been around for 32 years now, which is crazy. Such a long time. And it's like the first successful collectible card game, right? Which hopefully, everybody probably knows that. What makes the game so unique, not unique now, but at the time, and has been able to maintain that over time, is that it is constantly updated with new cards from new sets, from new worlds within the larger universe of Magic the Gathering, to just bring different variability to the play, right? And the ultimate goal is to build the best deck to be able to take out your opponent. It's a 1v1 attack thing. But the game has changed a lot in the last few years. Like for 25, 30 years, the game was, I guess 25 years or so, the game was fairly consistent, right? A few new sets a year. The cards would rotate. The cards you're allowed to use in certain formats would change over time. Certain cards would get banned. But in general, like it would have kind of the same flow. But in the last 10 years or so, and really since like the development and launch of like the Commander format, which is you purchase a set deck with the kind of the Commander focus on it, and this is now the most popular version of Magic the Gathering. It's Commander. That meant you could start making themed decks, and you could sell those as is, right? And they have done that, and they've done it very well and very successfully, and made a lot of money doing it. But then you're like, well, what if those themed decks had special characters from other IPs that we all know? And then all of a sudden we've kind of gone down this rabbit hole where Magic the Gathering is teaming up with other companies outside of themselves and bringing in different IPs and different ideas and building sets with the Magic the Gathering rules, but the IPs that you all know and love that are not Magic the Gathering.
Sure.
So that has expanded a lot. This first started back in 2020 with a handful of Walking Dead Secret Lair cards. And so Secret Lair is kind of like the secret, not secret, but like limited drops of individual cards or micro sets of cards. So you might get, for example, in 2020, they had like this Walking Dead release, right? Kind of just like a crossover event, gave people an opportunity to spend some money, and you go, oh, I got Walking Dead Magic cards. Great. Negan the Cold-Blooded, right?
Yes.
I think it's like 10 or 15 cards in that set, which represent different characters from the show. Then they had Stranger Things the next year. They had Street Fighter the year after that. Fortnite. There weren't a lot of them. Like over the course of 3 years, they released, I think, 5 of these. But then in 2022, they released their first like IP-themed Commander decks with the Warhammer 40k decks. And so from there, things have ramped up. We get different cards. They're integrating with the existing sets. Some of them are coming out as their own sets, which we'll talk about too. And the result is, for some people, like an awesome opportunity to play a game that they like with a different theme on it. For other people, a chance to revisit a game maybe they haven't played in 20 years with a new theme on it. And for some people, just a really annoying glut of IP. Which, fair. Can't argue with that.
Yes.
So, anyhow, we have taken the 10, and again, there's like 40 of these, but we've taken the 10 that have made it into sets or came out as their own sets or are coming out as their own sets, and we've crafted a top 10 list of the brands and IPs or universes, as Wizards of the Coast calls them, that have entered Magic the Gathering.
Nice.
So we are going to run you down them. All right. Number 10 on the list is Transformers.
Ooh.
You like Transformers?
I'm a big fan of Transformers.
Yeah.
Is this a
So
Generation 1, or is this like a new movie kind of Michael Bay kind of thing?
so it was back in 2022, and I don't have these cards myself, so I don't really recall, but it was a combination of cards that were inserted into the Brothers War set, which was one of the core um, sets that came out that year.
Sure.
The 94th expansion.
Oh,
If that
wow.
means anything to you. Yeah. Yeah, there's been over 100 expansions for
That's
Magic the
crazy.
Gathering. Um, and so they had some cards that you could get like one in every 10 packs or so that were Transformers cards. Like I remember people being excited about it at the time and also a little weirded out. And they're like, Transformers? Okay. Um, but there were 15 of them. And it was everything from, Ratchet and Jetfire and Starscream up to Optimus
Nice.
Prime, Soundwave, Ultra Magnus, Megatron.
Yeah, that's G1.
Yeah. So like all the good stuff, right?
Yeah, no,
None of that basic.
again, yeah, like I had played Magic way back in the day, but certainly I've lost track of the lore. So it's kind of interesting for me because I again, like I talked about this previously, I would like to kind of re-engage with like some sort of collectible thing. Again, I don't know now because of tariffs, but the
Yeah.
Magic the Gathering, the whole lore behind that, I'm just kind of like doesn't really hit me, and it's been too long. So
Right.
Transformers could be a thing. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they haven't done like a full set with these. Like it was just the 15 cards, they were inserts.
Sure.
They have all of the there was a whole bunch of different secret layer releases as well.
Yeah.
Uh and these are again, they're expensive typically. Like you can buy foil or non-foil versions and they'll come with a handful of cards and it'd be like $30 or $40. So they're limited, but yeah, that was one of the early ones. That was 2022. That was the first time they like inserted these things into a set.
Sure.
Um, number 9 is from the next year, 2023, and that's Jurassic World. So same thing. They took cards, they inserted them into the Lost Caverns of Ixalan
Mm,
expansion, which came out in 2023. And it doesn't tell me which number expansion it was, but it was an expansion. I think I actually had a couple of these.
yeah.
And the sets featured dinosaurs. So
Ooh,
some of those dinosaurs were Jurassic World themed.
nice.
Yeah. So there was 26 of these. So at this point, they're like starting to expand, starting to have more stuff. Some of these were more exciting than others, right? So
Sure.
like the Tyrannosaurus, or you have like Dino DNA that has like a picture of Richard Attenborough on it.
Hmm.
Or you could just like they had special land cards that were recognizable from the islands.
Yeah, as a kid growing up, I was I guess I still am a big dinosaur fan, but Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, obviously that's the version of dinos that we're dealing with right now
Yeah,
as
yeah.
like as a
If
people.
if you say
Yeah.
dinosaur, people think of the T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Uh, all right, so that again, not a huge release, but kind of like baked in. The number 8 on the list is the first time that they did this. I mentioned the Warhammer 40k Commander decks. This came out in 2022, and this was an opportunity to kind of try something different, leaning into the Commander format and giving people a different IP.
Hmm.
Um, 40k has a bunch of games. They don't really have a collectible card game. They've tried, and they generally fail. So this was an opportunity to do that. And so you had 4 pre-constructed decks.
Hmm.
There was the Necron Dynasties, which is just a black deck. Forces of the Imperium, yellow, blue, black. Tyrannid Swarm, blue, red, green.
Ooh,
And the Ruinous Powers, which was blue, black, red.
okay.
Um, and the just different commanders represented from the 40k world. And yeah, these did pretty well. People were pretty excited about it. Not quite nervous yet. The IP glut hadn't begun. It just seemed like a nice natural pairing and partnership between two of the big brands in gaming.
Yeah, that was always we've played so many Warhammer card games back in the day. Like they kept trying to produce something. And I
Hmm.
guess it just makes sense to go with the Magic the Gathering Commander decks because it's a real good system.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So next up, we have number 7. This is one that has not come out yet, coming out in September of this year, but we do know a fair bit about it. It's Marvel's Spider-Man.
There you
So
go.
we've come a long way in 3 years since the Warhammer 40K Commander decks. After the success of another one that we're going to talk about a little bit later, the Wizards of the Coast has started just making full sets with the Beyond, right? So, with Transformers, it was like 15 cards mixed in. Jurassic World, it's like 25 cards mixed in. With Spider-Man, it's a full-blown set.
Wow.
I don't think they've released the exact size of the set yet,
Mm-hmm.
but typically a set has anywhere between like 200 and 350 cards.
Sure.
And this will be fully standard legal, meaning you could play it in the standard format.
Nice.
So it can integrate with your other cards. It is one of the major expansions for the year with Spider-Man.
So it's like all the Spider-Man characters and such?
Probably. There haven't been a lot of leaks or previews just yet for this.
Sure.
Another game that we'll get to in a minute is coming out before this one, and they've been previewing that one for the last couple of months.
Okay.
So, but they have said they're going to try to do this once or twice a year going forward and just have a full Beyond set baked into standard. So that's just become a normal thing. They haven't announced anything beyond this year, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what comes next.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, number 6 was a fun one that I picked up and did not get a chance to play in full, but actually, poked around with. This is the Ravnica Clue Edition.
Ooh.
Right? So this is literally taking and Ravnica is one of the just the settings in in the world of Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
So this was a set called Murders at Karlov Manor, so like a murder mystery themed set, and then there was like a separate subset of that you could purchase. It was like a little box set by itself, with the Clue Edition, and then you could actually get the thing that just helped you play the murder mystery itself, kind of isolated on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool little thing. It came with the box. It came with a few packs that gave you cards from that set. So there was, I think, Clue or Cluedo, depending where you live.
Yeah.
Edition boosters, evidence cards with the characters, the weapons, the rooms.
That's funny.
Where the murder might occur. You get a little notepad. You get like a case file envelope, and then some hidden screens to hide the information from each other.
Mm-hmm.
So you're legit playing Magic, but also using those actions in Magic to kind of try to figure out who did it.
Yeah. Nice.
It's fun.
I like that idea. It's great.
Yeah. It's a cool little thing. I would like to see more of that, honestly. Like just taking, like, it's a mechanical crossover more than a thematic crossover, and I think that's fun.
Yeah. Nice.
Number 5 on the list is Assassin's Creed. So I'm getting some video game IP up in here.
Mm-hmm.
This was a set. So some of these sets they did were like not full sets and not standard legal sets. But this one came out last year, and it was 100 cards, I believe, along with some reprints of other cards. So it's modern legal. It's not standard legal. And you could buy bundles and you could buy packs. And there was also commander decks that went with that as well, I believe, unless I'm mixing it up with something else. So yeah, Assassin's Creed's interesting just because of like all the different periods that are in that game, and series of games that could come into it.
Nice.
All right, number 4 is Fallout. So Fallout obviously had a big year last year with the TV show. Not really a video game that I know of that came out last year, but the TV show had come out.
Yes.
And so they released 4 decks of 100 cards each. So this was a commander deck only kind of release, similar to what they did with Warhammer.
Sure.
And these were like, I have not played with them myself, but from what I've heard, people were pretty excited about them. And they worked well. They had the Scrappy Survivors with the dog meat as the commander.
That's funny.
Mutant Menace, Hail Caesar, and Science.
Okay.
So, yeah. And then there were also collector boosters packs that you could buy for this. which if you're not familiar with the Collector Boosters pack, it's like a pack of cards that costs $40 that is all rares or higher, and they're all foiled. So,
ooh, like that.
Yeah, expensive, but higher chance of getting a cool thing.
Sure.
And those are just like reskinned and upgraded versions of some of the cards in those decks. All right, number 3. This is the big one coming out this year that I'm excited about. Although with the world economic system collapsing, I'm probably not going to buy any of these. Final Fantasy. So Final Fantasy is an interesting one for a few reasons. One, there are 16 of these games, right? So there's a lot to draw on. They have not said the total set size, but they said it'll be a full one, so probably about 350. And they seem to be focusing in on a few specific eras of Final Fantasy. So you have Cloud. These are the commander decks. Cloud, who's from Final Fantasy VII. Ishtola, Knights Blessed, which I believe is Final Fantasy XIV, the online one. Terra, Final Fantasy VI, and Titus, which is Final Fantasy X. I have played through all the Final Fantasies from 6 up to, well, I would count 11 and 14. I've played them both, but up through 15 and part of 16. And this was just like the game series I was obsessed with in high school. Played through all those. So I love this. There is a Final Fantasy TCG, which I think they're still making. So I do find it funny that they're also doing Magic the Gathering. But that TCG is not great. It's fine, but it's not great. So doing it with the Magic the Gathering rules and the artists from the series, I'm pretty excited about it.
Nice. Like it.
All right. Number 2. This was 2023. Doctor Who.
Yay.
So, yeah.
Which Doctor?
So
Which
Doctor
one?
Who was all of them.
It's all of them. All right. There you go.
All of the Doctors. Yeah. So they did the commander decks with 4 Doctors, but then you had upgrade, packs you could buy that would have anybody, like the collector's edition. So the 4 decks that they offered were the 4th Doctor with Sarah Jane Smith, the 10th Doctor with Rose Tyler, the 13th Doctor with Yasmin Khan, and then not a Doctor, Davros, the Dalek creator.
Ooh, like it.
So you always got to have your bad guy in there.
Yeah,
right?
I like them when they went the other way there.
Yeah, it's fun, and you could buy the collector's edition packs as well, and then they had even more different Doctors, and I think they had all of them in there. Maybe not as commanders, but like within the decks themselves, you could have the other Doctors come out as well.
Sure.
All right, and then number 1, which should be obvious if you know anything about Magic the Gathering, which one we would pick. Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth. So this is the first time they made a full
number 1?
set. Why is it number 1? Because I like it. It's my favorite.
Well, not just because of that.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Too. This was... They pulled everything together. They made a full set for the first time, and that's not something they had done before. And the result was, I think, 280 something cards, and they even did like a second release in the holiday with a bunch of new cards and a new like spin on the cards. So it was designed as like its own isolated little thing. Like you buy Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth, you play with each other within that universe. So it's, it went to modern, but it was, just designed to be an isolated draft. But it's, I think they said one of their best selling sets.
Because it had the one ring.
Yeah, which was anticlimactic as heck.
But it was a super cool idea. I mean, it was like Willy Wonka's The Golden Ticket.
Yeah.
For like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's very cool. They're like, there's a one ring card. There's only one of them. Who's gonna find it? And some guy in Canada found it on the day that the set released. So,
I mean, I'm not loving that, but also it was a regular dude, and he got paid.
Yeah, it was like $1 million, right?
More than that. Was
it more?
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah,
it was significantly more than that, and I guess in a lot of ways too, it was good that somebody actually found it, because again, we would have all been crazy and bought endless numbers of sets.
Right.
And, also that's, that general idea of like, is this ever, it's like, it reminded me of like those McDonald's kind of things where like no one ever wins,
Right.
so.
Yeah, you find out somebody stole them all at the factory.
Yeah. But I mean, in this case, somebody did find it, and Post Malone did buy it for like over $2 million or something like that.
Good God.
Yeah. And it's not graded a 10 either. I think it's like a 9 or something like that. So
yeah, but there's only one of them, so it doesn't matter.
It does not matter. So
no, it's very cool though. Like I remember, like you came down to visit.
Yes.
For my birthday weekend.
Yes.
And it had just come out the night before.
Yes.
So like we're like popping around the different game stores on South Street in Philly. I mean, like, oh, I guess I'll buy some of these, and maybe I'll try this.
It could be the one. It wasn't,
yeah,
but it could have been.
And I get home and I'm like, orcs. They're orcs. I do have some very cool cards from this set, like just some really cool artwork.
Yeah.
I have like a little display thing that I bought. It's like
nice.
Aragon, and it's fun. It was a fun thing. And this is the reason I'm not as cynical about all these different sets, because when they actually put their energy into it and take the time to do it right, it's very good. This was very good.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that they've certainly done is, and again, some of this is for good and some of this is for bad, but the idea that these things are collectible, so you could just collect them. Again, money is one thing, certainly go for that, but also certainly like you mentioned, with the artwork is such high quality that you just might want to frame them, hold on to them.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. Like, and I feel bad for anybody who's trying to collect like all the rings or something.
Sure.
So much money.
Yeah.
And this is when they started serializing just generally. So yeah, there was the one ring, but there was also serialized. Like there was 300 elven rings and 700 dwarven rings and 900 human rings, and then also non-foil versions of which there were 3,000 and 7,000 and 9,000. Like, okay, you guys getting a little crazy with this, but it's still fun. The commander decks were very popular as well. Just trying to find them on the page here. You had Eowyn.
Oh yeah.
Frodo. Galadriel.
Sure.
And then the one everybody wanted that was really hard to find for a little while is Sauron.
Oh yeah, that's 100% the one you would want to play.
Yeah. So that's a blue, black, red deck, and it's you could find these and it'd be like $40, $40, $40, $90. You're like, okay,
yeah.
Everybody wants to play as Sauron.
It's true.
But there you go, folks. All 10 of the currently available, or recently, or in the past available, IPs that have been injected into Magic the Gathering, either as sets, commander decks, or just within existing sets. It's fun. We'll talk, maybe in the future we can talk about which ones we'd like to see join them, because they said they're going to do this once or twice a year. So
yeah, it certainly has kind of expanded the Magic the Gathering universe, and I arguably in a very good way, because again, if you're not into that kind of basic lore, you know the lore of the other one, so you can kind of jump into it and play along. So, excited. Like seeing this out there.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. So that's everything for this week. Until next time, this is Chris.
And this is Anthony.
And we'll save you all a seat at the table. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Hi there, I'm Hugh from Poderation. If you like today's show, why not check out Dungeons and Dragon Fruits, the bizarre, strange, and queer in every sense of the word D&D podcast. Join 5 friends as they laugh, learn, and adventure their way through the weird, wonderful world of Widdershins, where dragons hatch from trees and have adventures of all forms in every shape and size. Available wherever you can get your podcasts.